Greetings and salutations to all you sweet and wonderful and absolutely amazing listeners out there. I'm using all the superlatives tonight because I'm feeling very generous, and I'll get into why here in a minute. But hi, how's it going? How are you? How is everybody doing? Hope you're having a wonderful week, and I hope that your weekend was just as productive as your current week is right now. I also hope that your weekend was also relaxing to some extent, because that's what the weekends are for. They're here to serve us, not for us to serve them. So I hope that you found it within yourself, and I hope that you found it within your time and your budgeting of time to um, make some you time. Time to express and be yourself and just let go of all those things that were weighing on you throughout the week, whether it was work related or family or friend related or just obligations in general, because I know that we all can get that way. We can feel like we are often carrying burdens that are too heavy for us. Now, speaking of burdens, it does make sense that a lot of us do tend to feel pressure and we feel like we're maybe carrying too much of a load. But I'm here to tell you that it doesn't need to be that way, and you were not expected to ever, ever carry the weight of the world. And if you have burdens, there are people there who can help you carry them. And sometimes all it takes is simply telling a friend what's going on with you, simply relaying the message to a family member, or letting them know that, hey, I got something on my mind, and this is not for me as a way to dump it on you to make sure it's not my problem anymore, but I just want to let you know so I can let it off, some of it a little bit, just so I can get some pressure to release. And I feel the need to just come at you and let you know that there's something that's not right in my life, and all you have to do is listen. Now, that's the beautiful thing about talking to others is oftentimes we don't really need a whole lot of advice. If you think about it, how often do we take advice from others? And how often do your points of advice get taken by other people and applied? If you really sit down and consider that factor, it does indeed happen very seldom. Now, it does happen, don't get me wrong. I've given advice to people, and they have followed it, and they have come out better for it. And that's not bragging rights, that's just me telling you that it has happened before. Now, it has happened probably more often than not that I have offered my advice or someone has asked my advice over a problem that they're having, and oftentimes it goes in one ear and out the butt. So it doesn't go anywhere. So I sometimes wonder, well, what did I give my advice for? What did I even say that for? But the real reason I think that a lot of us need to express what's going on in our lives and tell somebody what's going on is because we need that other person to hear us. We need them to listen. We need them to just be there. You know? It's a very simple thing. As a matter of fact, I was doing some reading recently. One of my favorite books of all time I've been rereading is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And as cliche and as self explanatory as the title may be, it is actually a book that is well worth the read, and it's got a lot of wisdom from a lot of different points and philosophies and historical figures, and it's got testimonies of all kinds from the past, I'll say 20th century, most of the 20th century in it. And Dale Carnegie, the author, often touches on the point of it's good to be a listener. It's good to sit with somebody and just hear them talk, just hear them let it all out, because oftentimes that person is not looking for advice. What they're looking for is to blow off steam, to release some of that pressure, to get out some of that buildup that's been happening in their lives for however long it's been. And in order to be that person, we need to be patient. We need to be present in that moment with that person and take in what they're saying. And within reason, of course. It's good to sit with a friend who is going through loss, to hold them, to cry with them, to let them know that you're there. It's good to sit down with a friend over coffee and talk. Talk about life. Talk about what's going on in your life. Talk about what's on your mind. And when I mean what's on your mind, I mean what's really, really on your mind. And you can exchange that in return. You can let them know, hey, I've been going through some stuff too. We all do it. We all go through things. And this story that you're telling me, or this thing that you're telling me, I can relate on some level, at least, to some extent, what you're going through. Now, you may not exactly know what is going on in that person's life, and you may not know exactly what they're feeling, but that's okay. You don't need to. You don't need to put yourself out there to the point where you are fully empathetic and altruistic, and you are completely void of any of your being to empathize with that person. You can empathize, you can sympathize, but you don't have to be bombarded by the things that they're telling you. In other words, you don't have to feel bogged down. You don't have to feel burdened yourself after what they are saying to you. You don't have to feel fully and wholly responsible for what they're telling you. Because in the end, those things are not your responsibility. You can help, you can be there for them, you can give them advice, like I said, but that thing that they're going through, all you can do is listen, help where you can, give them advice if they ask for it, and be there for them if they need someone to be accountable to, someone to listen, or what have you. That's what I've learned reading another book called Boundaries. I don't have it near me, but Boundaries is a really good book as well, talking about deciphering what is our responsibility and what is not our responsibility when it comes to others. A lot of times we can take on too much. We can take on too many things at once. We can, for example, a personal example that I've been going through lately is being present with friends. Um, I can't tell you how many messages I get per day, per week, that ask me to do something. Like, hey, you want to go out and do something? You want to hang out? You want to go do this? You want to go do that? And oftentimes I do. I will go out with somebody. I will go to their house. I'll, go to a furry event or hang out with them at a convention or go to a fur meet or have coffee with them or they'll come over and we'll hang out, whatever the case may be. But I've realized over the past, it's been a while now, but I only recently realized that I have been stretching myself way too thin when it comes to hanging out with people. Not that I don't enjoy it, I do. I absolutely enjoy all the moments that I get to spend with my friends and loved ones and those I care about, but even I have a limit. I have a limit of the things that I can do. I have a limit of the places I can go. I have a limit in resource. I have a limit in finances. I have a limit in gas money. I have a gas money. I have a limit in car repairs. I have a limit in time. I have a limit in mental capacity, right? So, one of the things that I'm I unfortunately had to do this weekend, and I'm not going to name names just for the sake of privacy, but basically, I was asked a number of weeks ago to attend a um, attend an event with a friend. I'm not going to say what the event was exactly, but the event happened this past weekend. And last week, I was on the brink of burnout. I was so close to just, giving up and just like passing out and just like not getting up for days. Like I was to that point of, I'm just tired. Like I cannot do one other thing. I have worked all week. I've worked on videos. I worked on streaming. I worked on content. I've been doing other things with friends. Throughout the week, and I've been also doing family obligations. So I had to cancel. I had to cancel this whole weekend event because though I really wanted to go, I really wanted to attend and have fun with these friends that invited me. I just couldn't do it. And on top of that, I didn't feel too well. And I don't know if that was because of stress. I don't know if it was because of the fact that I was feeling stretched thin. I'm not sure what the case was, but altogether, I just did not feel right. I didn't feel well mentally. I didn't feel well physically. I felt like I was getting sick. Thankfully, I did not get fully sick. I had a little bit of the sniffles and maybe, a bit of a throat thing, but I didn't get like incapacitated, like cold or flu or anything, excuse me, or anything like that. Um, but I just couldn't do it, you know? And my brain and my body were both telling me, look, you need to take a break. You need to stop. You need to slow down because you have done so much over this past month. You've been to a convention, you've been to fur meets, you visited friends, friends have visited you, and it has been just like every single weekend this past month has just been booked of something happening. And I decided for myself and for my own health that I need to take a break. So I spent this weekend mostly alone. I did do a couple things. I went to my uncle's uh, little concert, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But I decided that I was going to take some time. I was going to enjoy my alone time. I was going to enjoy doing some things that I really wanted to get done and things that I really wanted to just, just trying to find the words. I just had to stop and I had to relax and I had to unplug for an entire weekend, which I did. I ended up on, let's see, on starting Friday night. I got home from work and I was just beat, tired. I didn't do anything. I relaxed. I ended up Saturday. I ended up sleeping in, which I hadn't done for quite a bit. I did some things around the house that I wanted to get done. I finished some content that I've been putting off for the better part of a month. I ended up, like I said, going to my uncle's concert, and then Sunday, um, I got up. I went to Sunday services. I came home after doing some shopping, and I just vegged. I sat down. I watched some YouTube. I watched a couple movies. Like I said, I did some things around the house. I just completely went off the grid. In fact, I barely got on social media. It was quite nice. I took some time off of Telegram and Discord and Twitter and YouTube and all those things that um, I realize now have been quite a staple in my life that I have been constantly driving after for however long it's been, for years. And I needed that time to just not do anything. And you know what? I feel great. I feel rested, rejuvenated. I got a lot of sleep. I took some naps. Actually got to bed at a reasonable time every day over the weekend. I hung out with Archie, got to play with him a little bit because I hadn't really seen him, and spent time with him. In fact, he's sitting right here next to me looking out the window because he probably sees something right now. But yeah, I just needed that, you know? We all need a break. We all reach our limit to the point where we just can't do it anymore, you know? And this isn't to say that I'm giving up. It's not to say that I'm stopping. It's not to say that I'm like completely like quitting things. No, it's a break. We all need it. We all need to recharge. We all need to feel that inner peace that we have been missing out on for however long it's been. you know? And while I was, one of the things, a couple of things actually that I got to do over the weekend that I had been missing out on quite a bit was reading. I read some things that I've been wanting to continue reading and finish reading. I did some journaling. I, played some music. Yeah, I just, it was a really, really therapeutic thing to do. And I just want to use that to encourage all of you that if you need to take a break, by all means, take a break. Don't worry so much about, impressing people. Don't worry about the quote unquote impact that you're making if you don't do something. If you are missing out on things that you really want to do, then you should listen to your brain, listen to your body, and take that time to enjoy yourself and to do things that you truly want to do. So, because I've heard it said best over this past weekend, doing some reading, like I said, and listening to some podcasts and whatnot. Sometimes we need rainy days. Think about what you do on a rainy day. You stay at home, you stay inside, you watch the rain, you listen to the pitter patter on the roof. If there's thunder and lightning, you just, sit back and enjoy it. You do need those rainy days because if you think about it, oftentimes we equate rainy days with sadness, depression, anxiety. Sure, those things do crop up from time to time, but we need the rain in our lives in order to grow. Because if you think about it, if it were sunny and like bright all the time, things would dry up. Things would not get the nourishment they need. We need the rain in our lives to nourish us, to take a break, to just water and wash away those anxieties and those depressions and those things that are bothering us. And because if we really think about and consider what it's doing to us, or what these sunny days, these constant sunny fun days that we keep having are doing to us, it's drying us up. And when you dry up, you dehydrate, and when you dehydrate, you burn out. So you don't want to burn up so much to the point where you can't do anything, or you maybe develop something more serious. So I encourage you, let those rainy days in. Let them thrive. Let that rain wash over you, wash off those things in your life that are not so ideal. Let the rain water you down and help you grow in those, so that those sunny days, when they come again, you can be refreshed and rejuvenated and ready for them. So let the rain in. Let it water you. If you're not growing, you're dying, as it's been said before. So that was what this past weekend was for me. I had to let the rainy day happen. I had to let the storm pass, and I took the benefit of the rain and I just let it wash everything in my life, and it really helped out. So that's something that's been on my mind lately, is just making sure that things are nourished, make sure things are growing properly, because I've been feeling it lately. As I said, I've been feeling the absolute just dry burnout that's been happening. And it's okay. It's definitely okay to feel that way. I just want to say it's okay to feel like you're being burnt out or you're being stretched thin. That is a very mature thing to realize, that you are going through these things right now. And if you hear if you hear some flapping, that is Archie looking through the blinds right now, which he shouldn't be doing. Sir, can I help you? That's okay. He can look out the window. He's fine. Hi, Archie. What you doing, buddy? Oh, he sees something outside. He wants to go chase it. Probably sees a squirrel. Anyway, so I want to give that encouragement to all of you. I know that was quite a word salad, but I hope that it does something to make you think that, hey, you know, maybe I do need a break. Maybe I do need to relax and pull back and just, let it go for a little bit. One of the other things that Dale Carnegie talks about in one of his books is putting a stop loss on things. And a stop loss order basically means that you put a limit on things. So, a great example is if you're meeting somebody for lunch, or if you're meeting somebody for a coffee or a meeting or something like that, you only have a certain amount of time that you can wait for them. If this person that you're meeting with is constantly late, or if they're constantly, disrespectful of your time that you're giving them, then you put a stop loss on it. And that stop loss could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. You have to put a boundary up. You have to put a limit on it and say, okay, I'm willing to wait for you this long, I'm willing to put up with this much in life. I'm willing to put up with only so much before I need to stop and I need to reevaluate or just simply walk away. You can walk away. It's okay. I don't think anybody will think the less of you for that. When you walk away from certain situations or you walk away from an opportunity, that is you watching out for yourself. It's not selfish, It's not something that, oftentimes we can get in that tragic thought pattern of, oh, I'm being selfish if I don't do this. Not necessarily. What you're doing is you are being discerning of your life, and you are being discerning of your time, and you're being discerning of what you are able to do versus what you just can't afford to do at that moment. And that's okay. It's not a selfish thing to say no. It really is not. You being able to say no is a very powerful thing. Being able to say no gives you the opportunity to hold your ground, hold your being, hold yourself accountable as well as that person to say, I appreciate it. I appreciate the offer. I appreciate, you inviting me to this thing. I appreciate you, giving me this opportunity. But I have to say no because mental health is important. My well-being is important. And I'm not trying to compare and say that it's more important than you. What I'm saying is, this is what I need to do for my own sanity, essentially. So, it's okay to say no. You can, And like I said, nobody's going to think the less of you for it. And if they do think less of you for it, then what kind of a friend is that? What kind of a friend, or, what would be called a friend, or what a so-called friend, is it that cannot respect your time, that cannot respect your well-being or your mental being? If you say to somebody, hey, I'm really not feeling up to it today, I'm really not feeling this opportunity, and if they object, then you can tell them, look, I want to thank you, but I just am not able to. And, if it's something that you committed to, then by all means do it, by all means. Find the means to do it. But for whatever reason, if you cannot, then you don't have to. You do not have to do it to impress somebody. I think that's the trap that we fall into all the time, is we oftentimes want to impress people. We want them to like us. We want to be liked. I think that's the I don't want to say rhythmic, but it's the stronghold thought pattern that we get ourselves into that says, if I don't do this, they're not going to like me anymore. Says who? Whoever said that? Like, at what point, when, ever, did somebody ever stop liking you because you couldn't do something? And like I said before, if someone decides to not like you anymore, or if they decide to give you grief for something that you cannot do, then that's not your problem. That's a problem that they have to work out for themselves. You can explain it and you can tell them, like, to the best of your ability, that you tried. You really try and you want to do your best for them, but now is not the time. There will be other opportunities in the future. I know I'm really beating this over the head right now, but one of the things that I was upset about, but at the same time paid off very well, was it wasn't this past weekend, but it was the weekend before that. I went and I visited a friend, and we had a great time. Went out to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, got to do an escape room, got to have a delicious slice of pizza at this local place, and ice cream after that. Go around to the shops, and we had a great time together. But that very night, there was an event, a furry event, going on in a town back in Ohio that I wanted to attend. Like, I really wanted to attend this event. But the problem, I had two problems. The first one was I was 5.5 hours away from this town of a drive. That's a lot of driving. And I was with friends. I was with friends that I committed to being with that weekend. I said to myself, I'm going to go all in on this. I'm going to spend time with these friends, and I'm going to give them my undivided attention, and I'm going to be present, and I'm going to be there for them. Nothing else matters except for right now with them at this moment. So, yes, I ended up missing that furry event. There's nothing I can do about that. Though I really wanted to go, and I really wanted to see other friends while I was there, but the circumstances did not align. I was a very long distance away. I ended up, you know, I had made the decision already to be with these current friends and not worry about what other people would think of me if I didn't go to this other furry event. And I had to, though it hurt, I had to rationalize. And I had to say, look, there will be other events in the future. There will be these other opportunities. This furry event in particular comes around either monthly or bi monthly, so there will be other times that I can go and do this. It's not the end of the world, it's not the end of an era. It is something that I can decide to do in the future, but just not now. So I think that that comes from a fair bit of wisdom to be able to say no and be able to decide what you can and can't do. You can't do everything. You definitely can't impress everybody, and you can't please everybody either. You're never expected to do so. Do what you can, yes, but that doesn't mean that you have to stretch yourself to the point where you will literally burn yourself out and probably give yourself some health problems in the future. It's not worth it. So that's my little tangent for you. I hope that made sense. I'm just letting you know that it's okay to say no, and it's okay to be present where you are, and it's okay to stick with the decisions that you made, and nobody will think the less of you for it. So keep that up, and whatever opportunity comes your way in the future, I hope that you're able to do it to the best of your ability, and I hope you're able to say no to the right things. Excuse me, say no to the right things, and say yes to the right things as well, because we're not expected. We are never, and we should never be expected to overperform and overdeliver. You know, I once heard it said, under promise, then over deliver. Yeah, I agree with that philosophy. Under promise. If someone invites you to something, you're not sure about it, don't give them an answer right away. Just say, okay, I'll think about it, maybe. And if the opportunity happens to present itself to where you can do it, then by all means go do it. But if you're not sure about it, or for whatever reason you can't do it, say no. It's okay. You don't have to be afraid of that. So, that's a fair bit of wisdom for you. I hope it made sense. I also want to talk about a couple of random things. Um, one of the things that, one of the reasons that I'm recording this so late, it's about 11 o'clock at night on September 23rd, on a Monday night, is I ended up working a 12-hour shift today, and I really did not need to. It was one of those things that I had to be present and I had to be around because I was requested to, and I volunteered my time, and it did not pay off. I'm sad to say it did not pay off at all. In fact, my staying 12 hours did not make a difference. At least I hope it did in some way, but we ended up waiting around for something that never happened. That's what the 12-hour shift was about. And we did get pizza out of it, which was nice, but in the end, uh, what we were trying to achieve with this 12-hour shift did not get achieved. And this is not me to say, like, it wasn't worth it. Every opportunity that we have is worth it, whether it be um, through time or through opportunity. Like, um, I was presented with this opportunity to wait around and to accomplish this thing that we set out to do at work, but it didn't happen. And am I going to be upset about that? I could, but I'm deciding not to because yes, it did not pay off. It was in fact fruitless and pointless that I worked this 12-hour shift, but I got two payoffs. The first one is free pizza, which cannot go wrong with that. And the second payoff was I got 4 extra hours of overtime, which I guess in my field equates to about $120 extra. So can't argue with that, right? So that's the thing is you got to find those payoffs. Even if it's something that doesn't seem to be worth it at the moment, you can find those things that benefit and you can find those payoffs in the tissue of that opportunity. You may the big picture may be, yeah, that was pointless, but overall it was worth it. And you decide that it was worth it through these little things. In my case, it was worth it for the pizza and the overtime. Again, can't argue. So, you know, here I am. I came home. I got some dinner. I'm recording this podcast. I'm getting some content stuff done. I was able to sit back and enjoy some concert footage. And yeah, I'm hanging out with Archie, and it's a pretty good night if I have to be completely honest. So I do want to talk about, speaking of concerts, I want to talk about the concert that I saw over the weekend. On Saturday night, it was presented to me that I go and watch my uncle's band play in a concert. My uncle is a bassist in a progressive rock band. They do covers mostly, and I was very impressed. They played everything from Pink Floyd to Queen to Rush to Duran Duran, and it was a great time. Granted, it was at the probably the sketchiest biker bar that I'd ever been to in my life, but the fact of the matter is, I was there with my family. I got to spend time with my dad. I got to spend time with my uncle. I saw my old boss, which was a real treat. I saw my aunt, and I got to meet some of my dad and uncle's childhood best friends, people that they had grown up among. And that was a real reward, getting to meet those people and hear their stories and um, hear them talk about the old times back in their high school days and in their school days and college days. And it was a, it was a real, it was a real reward getting to get to know them and just enjoying some good old rock music with them you know so I have to say the band did a great job. The lead singer of the band is pretty much the incarnate equivalent of Jack Black, which was another treat, like in his singing voice, his movements, the way that he acted on stage, even his looks. Like he was very Jack Black like, so that was definitely entertaining. Um, the covers that they did, like I said, they played they played Bohemian Rhapsody, which was a lot of fun. They played a lot of songs from Rush that I really like. They played some Duran Duran. They played a lot of Led Zeppelin actually, which I was very impressed to hear. Each one of those members of the band were very talented in their own ways through singing, drumming, guitar, bass. Shout out to my uncle. And I had a great time. You know, I got to spend time with my dad, my uncle, my aunt, my old boss, and their friends growing up. So that was the payoff, definitely. And I do not regret going. I really enjoyed myself. So, And I feel like, in a weird way, my dad and I got closer that night. I've always been close with my dad, but, one of the main ways that we've always been able to connect is through music. And the fact that we were sitting there, both of us were sitting side to side, listening to the music, singing along to all the songs. It was a real special moment just to have that time with my dad and just get to connect with him in that way. Um, Especially since moving out of my parents' house, it's been difficult to find the time to do those things, and I was able to make it happen through music. So, music is a powerful thing, and I'm glad I got to enjoy it with all of them. So, shout out to the greatest family I could ever ask for. I love you guys. Um, I also want to mention that I've been on a Rush kick for a long time, and when I say a long time, I mean like a few weeks now. I've always loved the band Rush. If, I know that they're pretty divisive in their style. I know they're not for everybody, and that's okay. But I love the band. I've listened to them for a very long time, as long as I can remember, and they've been playing nonstop on my Spotify. Like, I was on my way home jamming out to Spirit of Radio and Free Will and Where's My Thing and YYZ, a bunch of Rush classics. And when I got home, I started watching some concert footage because I can't get enough right now. So, current obsession is Rush. Great band. Rest in peace to Neil Peart, gone too soon. Shout out to Alex and Getty as well for their continued showmanship and musicianship throughout the years. And yeah, so I'm very much enjoying this arc of music that I've been listening to lately. So it's good to get back into that band and get back into what I loved so much. I've actually been revisiting quite a few artists that I've grown up among, so that's one of them, and I would not replace them for anything. So other than that, I do want to mention that I will be attending the next couple furry events that I'll be attending is WAPAFA, Western Pennsylvania Furry Weekend, excuse me, which will be in the first weekend, on the first weekend of October. And then I will be attending Midwest Fur Fest in the first weekend of December. So, any of you out there who will be attending to those, I hope I will meet you. And I hope it's going to be a good time, which I already know it will be. So, I'm very excited. Um, yeah, so I've been, like I said, working on content. I've been doing some things here and there on YouTube and, planning live streams and whatnot. So, here's to continuing on this whole YouTube thing. I'm very excited because I just finished a video with Ace Spade the Pikachu, a good collaboration. So shout out to you, Ace, for making this happen. Um, I got to collaborate with him on a new little sketch comedy video, so I will link it in the description below if you want to go check it out. It was a lot of fun. I'm not going to spoil it. You have to go watch it. It's a lot of fun. So I'm glad that we got that underway and finished. It was quite a bit of planning and editing and storyboarding, and it actually turned out really well, I thought. So feel free to go check that out and enjoy. Oh, my goodness, I've been talking for over 38 minutes. My goodness. But hey, here we are. We're doing it right. We're just going. I don't even have any notes for this podcast. I've just kind of been winging it the entire time. So, um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is, oh yeah, something interesting that happened. Yesterday night, when I was preparing for today, getting things ready for work and the next day and all that, I had a little visitor in my house. It was actually a katydid, which, to those of you who don't know what that is, it is basically like a grasshopper cricket hybrid bug. And it's about 2 inches in length, depending on how big it gets. But no, he was just chilling on the inside of my window, just sitting there, minding his own business. So they're very sweet bugs. They're not aggressive. They don't bite or pinch or anything like that. You can actually pick them up and and they'll be friendly with you. So that's what I did. I picked him up and I put him right back outside and said my goodbyes. So he and I got to hang out a little bit. It was really nice. Sadly, he didn't get to sing for me. If you ever get a chance to listen to a Katydid sing, it sounds very much like a cricket on steroids. It's a very loud and rhythmic tone. So sadly, didn't get to hear him sing, but he is safely back out in nature where he belongs. So I felt very blessed to have him in my house for all of 15 minutes. So I don't know how he got in. I did have the door open last night to kind of let the breeze in, but I have a storm door, like a screen door, on the outside of my patio door, and somehow he slipped his way in. So, shout out to the Katydid for visiting me last night and just giving me a little bit of joy, to have in my house for but a moment. Seize the day, my friends. Enjoy the little things. Enjoy the little tiny things that can just put a smile on your face. Always find a reason to smile, find a reason to laugh, because you can find humor in almost anything. If it's there, you will be able to laugh. So, by all means, feel free to laugh where necessary. It is definitely worth it. So, come to the end of this podcast. I just want to thank you all for listening and for keeping your ears open and for being so loving and so supportive over these years. I still am very grateful every single day for what you have given me on this platform. And, to those of you who are listening here, you are true OGs, and I appreciate the crap out of you. So, it really means a lot that you take time to listen, take time to watch the videos on the main channel, and, follow on Twitter, TikTok, and all those good places. And just enjoy yourselves. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy yourselves so much to the point where, you feel entertained. I do read your comments, and I respond when I can, but, when I read your comments, it really means the world, and it just makes me feel so heartfelt, and it really warms my heart to hear and to see what you're saying. And to every like, to every subscription, to every listening ear that's out there, I just want to thank you all so much for what you've done and for the gifts that you've given me over the years. So, anyway, I think this is a good place to wrap up, if anything. So, I just want to say thank you so much for listening, and I will be back next week with more news, more things, more experiences, more advice, and more talky points that I'll be extending. So until then, I want to encourage you the way that I always do on these podcasts. Remember the Latin phrase "Sic Parvis Magna," which is Latin for greatness from small beginnings. Never forget where you started, and never forget the people who brought you up from the beginning. And if you look back over the landscape of your life to where you started and where you are now, just remember that you are not done yet, and you still got a full journey ahead of you and a purpose to fulfill. Never forget where you came from, because your roots are oftentimes the navigator of your life. So when you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling like you don't know where to go, or you're feeling left behind, think about your roots. Think about where you came from, and remember the purpose that you set out for yourself and the goal that you're heading towards right now. In the same way, remember to always be you, be yourself. There is nobody in this entire world or universe that has ever been like you, that will ever be like you, and there is no one like you right now in the present. So don't let anybody ever tell you what you can and can't be, or who you can and can't be. Only you can be yourself, and only you can decide that. Nobody can do things quite like you can. So remember that as you go out, and remember that you are unique and you are a gift in your own ways. And make sure that you spread that gift and those blessings to others, because you never know when somebody is going to need your smile. So, until next time, this is your fluffy red velvet marshmallow host, Samson Kitty Fox. Thank you again for listening. I love you all so much, and I want to wish you a great night, God bless, and a beautiful week. Until next time, have a good night, And bye. Bye. Love you all. Thank you.